Have you ever stopped to ask yourself what really makes a romantic connection unforgettable? I'm not talking about just the physical chemistry or the passion. I'm talking about that deeper, almost unspoken understanding where both partners feel seen, heard, and truly satisfied. Today, we're going beyond surface level intimacy. We're diving into something far more powerful: the art of real connection, the kind that strengthens emotional bonds and transforms your relationship, starting in the most intimate space you share. Welcome to the channel where we don't just talk about pleasure, we talk about purpose. We're warriors of spirit here. We face life head on with resilience, clarity, and grit. And today we're bringing that same energy into the bedroom. Because real strength isn't just about how you carry yourself in the world, it's about how you show up for your partner when it matters most. Let's be real. One of the most empowering ways to create deeper intimacy is by learning how to truly give your partner pleasure, and that starts with intention. Today we're breaking down 5 powerful positions that go beyond the basics. These aren't just moves, they're opportunities to connect, explore, and build deeper trust and satisfaction with your partner. So let me ask you this. What if every intimate moment you shared could leave your partner feeling appreciated, cherished, and fully alive? It's possible, and it starts with presence. One of the most emotionally connected and physically satisfying positions is spooning. It's simple, intimate, and incredibly effective. Both of you lie on your sides with the man behind the woman. This close contact not only creates a sense of safety and bonding, but it also allows for dual stimulation. The G-spot and clitoris can both be accessed, naturally enhancing your partner's pleasure tenfold. The result? A deeper connection and unforgettable intimacy. But that's just the beginning. We're about to explore 5 favorite positions, ones that bring comfort, passion, and intensity into perfect balance. In these moments, there's no room for hesitation. Just focus, presence, and purpose. This is where weakness fades and strength is forged. These are techniques that test your awareness, your emotional intelligence, and your physicality. So if you're ready to level up, not just in the bedroom, but as a partner, then stay with me. Because here, willpower becomes something unshakable, and pleasure, it becomes something meaningful. Now that we've touched on the importance of presence and intimacy, let's dive deeper into technique, because yes, certain positions can dramatically enhance both pleasure and connection. One of the most effective positions for stimulating a woman's G-spot is spooning. Why? Because anatomically, the lower wall of the vagina is packed with sensitive nerve endings. And in this position, the angle of penetration allows for close, consistent contact with that sweet spot. Plus, spooning also creates an opportunity for dual stimulation. You can easily stimulate her clitoris with your hand at the same time, creating an experience that's both deeply emotional and physically intense. Another powerhouse: doggy style. According to a recent survey by intimacy experts, this is the #1 favorite position among British adults aged 35 to 44, and it's easy to see why. With the woman on all fours and the man behind the angle offers maximum depth and friction. But there's more to it than just penetration. It gives the woman space to move, to adjust, to discover what angle brings her the most intense pleasure. It's not just about control, it's about her choosing what feels good. And now let's talk about something that often gets swept under the rug: verbal intensity. According to surveys, 8 out of 10 women say they enjoy some level of dirty talk or playful insults during sex, not out of disrespect, but because it heightens excitement and intensifies the experience. Of course, this always depends on trust and consent, but when done right, it's not chaos, it's chemistry. Here's another surprising fact: some women are born with anatomical variations, like a smaller vaginal canal, or in rare cases, without a fully developed vagina, a condition affecting about 1 in every 5,000 individuals. It's a reminder that everyone is different, and why communication and patience matter in every intimate connection. And here's something a lot of men overlook: standing sex can actually help you last longer. The reason: it often requires more focus and physical control, and that subtle shift can delay climax and extend the moment while helping your partner reach hers even faster. In fact, with the right stimulation, some women can reach orgasm in as little as 4 minutes. For others, it might take closer to 20, but when the connection is real, every second counts. Let's also clear up a myth: if a woman is always the one giving and never receiving emotionally or physically, that's not a sign of generosity. It's often a red flag that something deeper might be missing from the relationship. Intimacy isn't one-sided. It's a dance, not a sacrifice. Before we go deeper into the most transformative positions that create not just pleasure, but real intimacy, I want to connect with you directly. If this video is giving you new insight or helping you see things differently, go ahead and tap that like button. It helps me bring more real free content straight to you. And drop a comment. Your stories and questions fuel the community we're building here. Let's talk. Let's grow together. As we continue this journey into deeper connection and more meaningful intimacy, here's something worth reflecting on. True growth happens when we're not just listening, but sharing. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. What insights have helped you create deeper intimacy in your own relationship? Drop them in the comments below. Together we can build a community grounded in real connection, emotional awareness, and passionate understanding. Now let's get into something powerful and often overlooked, knowing your partner's weak points, or more accurately, her most sensitive zones of pleasure. Understanding these areas isn't just about creating physical pleasure, it's about unlocking new forms of stimulation that can lead to stronger, more satisfying experiences for both of you. For some women, that might mean quicker, more intense orgasms. For others, it's about feeling seen and prioritized. Here's the truth: every woman is different. Preferences, sensitivities, rhythms, they vary. So taking the time to explore and understand what works specifically for your partner can completely transform her experience. And when a woman feels like you're tuned in to what lights her up, everything else changes emotionally, physically, and relationally. But it's not just about technique. Knowing what your partner enjoys strengthens the emotional connection as well. Honest conversations about what you both like or dislike in the bedroom opens the door to vulnerability and trust. That kind of transparency makes your relationship stronger, safer, and far more satisfying. When you learn her weak points, not as a means to manipulate, but to celebrate her pleasure, you show genuine care. It communicates that her satisfaction matters to you, that you're not just showing up but investing in her experience. And guess what? That kind of intentional presence builds not only desire, but also deep affection. She'll feel valued, respected, and more turned on, all because you paid attention. Now let's sprinkle in some fascinating science-backed insights. Did you know that men tend to experience higher levels of sexual arousal first thing in the morning? It's true, and it often has to do with elevated testosterone levels upon waking. And here's another interesting fact: when it comes to self-pleasure, most women rely on their fingers or vibrators as their go-to tools. These aren't just casual trends, they speak to how women understand their bodies and how important it is for partners to learn from that. Speaking of desire, a major fantasy for women under the age of 25, oral sex. According to surveys, it ranks right at the top, likely because it blends trust, pleasure, and focused attention. It's not just about technique, it's about intentionality. And finally, let's talk about the classic missionary position. Sure, it sounds basic, but don't be fooled. Across cultures, age groups, and continents, studies show it remains the most commonly practiced position among heterosexual couples. Why? Because it's not just comfortable, it creates closeness, skin to skin, eye contact, emotional intimacy. And sometimes that's exactly what makes it unforgettable. Let's keep the momentum going, because when it comes to connection, comfort and technique go hand in hand. One of the biggest reasons many women find the missionary position deeply satisfying is because of the closeness. When performed right, it's not about domination or weight, it's about enveloping warmth. She feels her partner's body gently covering hers, not pressing her down, but holding her in a secure, intimate way. That sense of safety enhances not just emotional closeness, but physical pleasure too. And here's where it gets even more exciting: experts in sexual wellness consistently rate missionary as one of the best positions for female orgasm, especially when done diagonally. That slight tilt isn't just a small tweak, it's a game changer. Why? Because it increases clitoral contact, and that's key. For many women, orgasm during penetration doesn't come from deep thrusts, it comes from external stimulation, especially for women with shorter than average clitorises, which sit further from the vaginal opening and are harder to stimulate through intercourse alone. This adjustment can make all the difference. Now let's shift to something that gets better with age, and that's awareness. Some men after 50 believe their best sexual years are behind them. They think desire fades and that great sex becomes a memory. But let me say this clearly: it's not true. With the right mindset, accurate information, and a little creativity, passion doesn't just survive, it evolves. Take the cougar position, for example, a classic favorite that places the woman on top. It's not just empowering, it's liberating. This position gives her the freedom to move at her pace, slow, fast, deep or shallow, all under her control. She's not passively receiving pleasure, she's orchestrating it. And that freedom to guide the experience often leads to stronger, more consistent orgasms. Even better, it also allows her easy access to her clitoris, meaning she can use her hands or adjust her angle for even more stimulation. Combine that with the man's ability to reach and caress her breasts, another highly sensitive erogenous zone, and this position becomes a full-body, high-intimacy powerhouse. She's not just involved, she's empowered. Let's also talk about emotional readiness. Studies show that 80% of women don't marry the man they love, but rather the one who's ready. That speaks volumes about what women value: emotional maturity, presence, and readiness for real commitment. It's a reminder that connection goes far beyond chemistry. It's about timing and trust. Now on to a more sensitive topic, anal sex. For those interested in exploring it safely and respectfully, hygiene is essential. A warm water rinse with neutral soap and optionally an enema can help keep things clean and comfortable. And always remember, this should be a conversation, not a surprise. Here's another fascinating insight. Women who engage in sex at least once a week often report feeling happier, more radiant, and even more confident. There's a glow that comes not from the act itself, but from feeling desired, connected, and seen. And what about attraction? On average, women are more drawn to older men, not because of appearance, but because experience, stability, and calm presence speak volumes. These traits signal safety, wisdom, and emotional grounding, things many women crave more than just charm. Lastly, let's talk about the alignment technique. This is a variation on missionary that takes it to the next level. The woman keeps her legs pressed together, which increases internal pressure and allows the man to stimulate the clitoris more directly during thrusting. It's subtle but wildly effective. That small change creates a tighter, more stimulating experience that helps many women reach orgasm more quickly and intensely. As we continue diving into these powerful insights about pleasure and connection, let's talk about an underrated tweak that can make a huge difference: alignment. When done right, it creates deeper pressure during penetration and more physical contact between partners. This slight adjustment doesn't just increase closeness, it significantly intensifies sensation for both of you. For the woman, it means her body is held tighter, her hips drawn in, and her pleasure zone directly stimulated with more consistent contact. For the man, it increases penile stimulation too, making each movement more connected and meaningful. And there's one simple gesture that seems to heighten everything: when the man firmly presses her hips toward him. That firm yet controlled contact sends a signal: I'm here, I'm present, and I want you to feel every moment. It's primal and, for many women, deeply satisfying. And while we're on the topic of attraction, let's decode a subtle sign. When a woman is into someone, she often moistens her lips with her tongue. It's not always conscious, but it's her body's way of increasing allure, adding a touch of shine and softness that signals interest without a word. But let's also be real: intimacy is complex, and not all behaviors are what they seem on the surface. There's a surprising claim that some women who regularly initiate oral sex in every encounter may actually be seeking the thrill of arousing someone new. It's not a blanket rule, but a potential red flag if something feels off in the emotional dynamic. The truth is, life is filled with mysteries, especially when it comes to sexuality. The human body and mind are more interconnected than we often realize. Did you know that some people can actually reach orgasm during workouts? It's rare, but it happens, usually due to rhythmic motion, core muscle engagement, and sustained friction over time. And here's something else you might not expect: mature women over 40 often find it easier to reach orgasm than those under 40. Why? With age comes confidence, communication, and a stronger connection to what truly feels good. In fact, women over 40 are statistically more likely to initiate a kiss before intimacy begins, while younger women tend to do so after. It's not about right or wrong, it's about comfort, confidence, and emotional rhythm. Now let's talk about a position worth exploring: the screw. This position is specially designed to increase stimulation and intimacy. It's called the screw not because of the motion, but because of the subtle twist in the way bodies connect. It allows for a slightly diagonal entry and tighter contact, which can lead to more intense pleasure for her. Less bouncing, more grinding, the kind of movement that builds pressure and draws out sensation. Now that we've explored positions focused on mutual rhythm and intimacy, let's look at one that shifts more control to the man while offering the woman incredibly deep stimulation. This next position requires just a bit of flexibility, but the results, let's just say it's worth a setup. In this position, the woman lies on her back with her legs extended, straight up toward the ceiling, then crosses one leg over the other. The man standing or kneeling in front gently holds her legs at the ankles, helping her keep them elevated and aligned. It's a posture of openness, trust and focus, and once you're in it, penetration becomes deeply controlled and precise. What makes this position so powerful is the way it allows the man to fully guide the pace and depth, while also maximizing internal stimulation for the woman. The angle naturally presses against sensitive nerve endings inside, and the visual connection, her legs stretched upward, his hands steady on her ankles, heightens the intensity for both partners. This setup often leads to a highly synchronized experience, a shared climax that feels more connected and explosive than usual. Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about emotional cues outside the bedroom. When a man is truly into a woman, not just physically attracted, but emotionally invested, it shows. He'll talk about her to his friends without even realizing it. She becomes part of his conversations, his plans, even his jokes. That's love talking. And when it comes to physical intimacy, genuine care is revealed in the little things. A man who takes time to explore her body, kissing her gently, playing with her nipples, and truly tuning into her responses is a man who isn't just chasing pleasure, he's aiming to give it. That attentiveness says more than words ever could. There are also subtle ways women reveal attraction. Pay attention to her voice. When she lowers her tone while speaking to you, it often signals heightened interest even if she doesn't say it directly. Many women enjoy having their breasts touched before sex begins. It sets the tone, builds arousal, and makes them feel deeply desired. If you haven't tried that kind of focused foreplay, give it a shot. Watch her body language, chances are she'll melt right into your hands. And yes, oral sex is a powerful part of the experience for many women. It's not just physical, it's emotional intimacy in action. Women's sexuality, when fully understood and respected, becomes a force, not a game. In the dynamic between men and women, it can be both powerful and disarming. For men, your greatest ally in those intimate moments may just be your left hand. Why? Because it requires finesse, control, patience. It's not about dominance, it's about mastery. At the heart of it all is this simple truth. Knowing your partner's sensitive points, emotional and physical, isn't just about pleasure, it's about connection. When you care enough to learn her rhythm, her triggers, and what makes her feel safe and seen, you're not just having sex, you're building something real. That's where true intimacy begins.